When we talk about business success, we often default to looking at numbers, spreadsheets, analytics, revenue charts. And while data is essential, it isn't the heart of what drives greatness. What truly separates the most impactful, resilient organizations from the rest is their unwavering commitment to their values. Let's start with why. That question is the cornerstone of purpose. Why does your business exist? Why do your employees show up every day? Why should anyone care? Companies like Apple, Patagonia, and Southwest Airlines didn't dominate because they had the best data analysts. They won hearts and loyalty because they were rooted in something deeper than numbers. They stood for something. Apple stood for challenging the status quo, Patagonia for sustainability, Southwest for democratizing air travel. When your values are clear, they guide every decision, every strategy, every hire. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When you lead with values, you're not just building a business, you're building a movement. Your team feels it, your customers feel it. People are drawn to leaders and companies who are consistent in what they believe. They trust them. In an uncertain world, trust is currency. And it starts not with data, but with clarity of purpose. So if you want to predict the future of your business, don't just look at trends. Look inward. Ask yourself, what do we believe? What is our why? There's a fundamental truth in leadership. People follow those who inspire them, who make them feel safe, who remind them they matter. But most importantly, they follow those who believe what they believe. Values are not slogans on the wall or buzzwords in a presentation. They are lived and breathed in everyday decisions. A company may say it values innovation. You may claim to value people, but if your culture burns them out, they won't trust you. There's a gap between words and actions in many organizations, and that's where success falters. The top 1% of organizations close that gap. They build cultures of belonging and shared belief. They reward behaviors that reflect their values. Leaders talk less about KPIs and more about integrity, courage, and service. When people see values in action, they mirror them. That's how you scale a culture, by showing people who you are, not telling them. Read leaders understand that consistency in values breeds consistency in results, because people become invested not in the product or the profit, but in the mission. They go above and beyond, not for a paycheck, but because they believe they are part of something bigger than themselves. And that's where business becomes transformative. We've heard this phrase before, but it's not just a clever quote. Culture, the environment shaped by your values, is the operating system of your organization. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your culture is toxic, resistant, or fear-based, it will sabotage execution at every turn. Culture is the unspoken language of how things get done. Do people feel safe to speak up? Are mistakes treated as opportunities or failures? Is feedback a one-way command or a two-way dialogue? These questions reflect values in motion. Take a look at companies that weathered crises well. They didn't just pivot based on data, they relied on strong values. Their people trusted leadership because there was transparency. They stayed committed because they felt seen and heard. In moments of stress, data may inform you, but values anchor you. They give you a North Star when the path isn't clear. And it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. When leaders admit mistakes, when they practice empathy, when they listen deeply, that's where culture thrives. And that culture, more than any quarterly report, is the greatest predictor of long-term business success. If you want a metric that predicts sustainable business performance, it's trust. Trust isn't earned through a single campaign or a flashy product. It's built over time through consistent alignment between your values and your actions. And it's fragile, easily lost, slowly regained. Businesses that prioritize trust over transactions are the ones that build loyal customers and engaged employees. Trust means transparency in communication. It means owning up when things go wrong. It means standing by your values, even when it's inconvenient or unprofitable in the short term. Trust leads to word of mouth, to retention, to innovation. When people trust leadership, they bring their full selves to work. They collaborate, they experiment, they stay. And when customers trust a brand, they become evangelists. They forgive mistakes, they stick around. Trust isn't fluffy, it's strategic. It's measurable in loyalty, in resilience, in reputation. In a world obsessed with data, remember this: people don't trust data, they trust people, they trust values. And if your business is built on a foundation of trust, the data will follow.